And good Wednesday night, sports fans. It's the Prep Sports Report, Thursday Night Live. It's the coach, Carl Damasi, with the columnist, Stephen Elmo Weeks, and, of course, the sports reporter, Travis Giordano. Well, guys, great to see you. I hope everybody's doing good and having a good week. And once again, it's a Thursday night. We're talking local sports.
What's up, man? Yeah, it's another week, another week of semi-quarantine, I guess. Everybody's still trying to social distance and stay home and stuff like that. But, hey, we've learned how to do these cool things, the Zoom conferencing and the live streaming and everything else. So I want to thank Travis for joining us. Travis, when we launched the PrepSportsReport.com, the new and improved PrepSportsReport.com, Travis got on board right away, and he's already written 4 or 5 great stories for us. If you haven't checked out Travis's work on our website, go to PrepSportsReport.com and look at the look at the 4 or 5 stories that Travis has put together. He's got some really unique content you can't find anywhere else. And most recent content was catching up with a former Hornet, former Raider, former Cal Bear, current Georgia Bulldog, Demetrius Robertson. And it was a great story. Good read. Travis, how you doing tonight, bud?
Hey, guys, I'm doing well. Thank y'all for having me on. This is my first kind of run with whatever app this is or doing the live feed. I've watched a lot of these since the coronavirus started. I've watched a lot of them. So now I'm going to try my hand at actually participating in one of them. But yeah, when you guys started PrepSportsReport.com, and Stephen, when you reached out to me, I mean, obviously I wanted to do it so desperately because sports had just stopped. So essentially my writing had just stopped and my talking about sports had stopped. And at that point I realized, man, I'm really dependent on sports. So I'm like everyone else waiting for them to come back. But this, you guys starting this has kind of, done that for me. Hopefully it's done that for some other people. And just quickly, Stephen, what you said about Demetrius, when you start listing off the former Savannah Country Day Hornet, former Savannah Christian Raider, former Cal, there's a lot of formers, and that list isn't quite as long as the list of college scholarship offers he had. And I didn't realize how good and how highly regarded Demetrius Robertson was. I knew how highly rated he was, but until you start going back and remembering that class of 2016 and kind of how he was viewed, it's really remarkable that he was right here in our backyard playing his high school sports.
Travis, if I'm not mistaken, and Carl, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Demetrius is the only 5-star recruit ever to come out of Savannah. Is that right?
I think since they started doing it, yeah, he's the only consensus 5-star. I think Nolan Smith was a 5-star, but obviously he didn't end up
down to MIT or whatever. Carl, right. you had a guy that was pretty good back at Groves, but I don't know if he was a 5-star, was he?
No, they were both 3 stars. Barad Higgs went to Maryland, and Tony Clark went to Georgia Tech. But to Travis, he also is an Ashley Deering Award winner. This kid, yep. I had a coach against him. I never coached against him in football, but I had a coach against him in basketball. You want to talk about speed? You want to talk about some ups? I mean, Demetrius Robinson was an all-around athlete. And you know what? 3 sports athletes have a lot to give. And this kid, I mean, he's something special. And in track and field, state winner or state runner-up, I mean, the kid's an athlete.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was incredible to watch. And, basically anyone that wins that Ashley Deering Award, if you're from Savannah and you played high school sports, if you win the Ashley Deering Award, that's about all the credential you need to be accepted as, a premier athlete. But, Robertson, it didn't matter who you asked, and he was excellent at just about everything he did.
Yeah. I remember hearing stories about him when he was a freshman at Savannah Country Day. I'm a Savannah Country Day alum, and I remember hearing stories about this kid who was – and what I heard was, do you remember when Herschel played Savannah Country Day back in 1979? It's like that again. But then I was surprised. So I made a point. I went out to see him play, and I couldn't believe how little he was. Well, it's warming up, and I'm like, that little guy? Took the field, and he was just like a lightning strike every time he touched the ball. It was truly unbelievable experience to watch this guy. And he was, it's like you guys are saying, he was completely different than everybody else on the field in terms of speed, athleticism. And honestly, the first time I saw him play, he was a freshman at Savannah Country Day, and I thought, he doesn't even look like he's trying hard. And he was still whizzing by people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, he has that trait, right? Some guys have it in all sports, you know, baseball, basketball, football. Sometimes there's guys that, and it comes so natural and easy to them that it almost looks like they're nonchalant or showboating almost. And
totally
that's how
agree.
premier you are.
I've been doing this for a long
I had
time.
the opposite trait. I worked as hard as I could work, and then I fell down clumsily.
I think I like to think I fell somewhere in the middle.
Just to go back to the athlete, I've been doing this a long time. Okay. I'm an old guy. Back in the day, I've been doing it a long time. You could always tell whether it's the football player, the basketball player, the baseball player, the track and field athlete. You could always tell the person that is at the next level because it's a man playing amongst boys, even though his body stature was not overbearing, but you could tell the kid was something special. Same kid for me, Tony Clark, who went to Georgia Tech.
I remember Tony well.
He just ran away from people. He just ran away from people. But it's just, you know, it's just simply amazing. So, but also another thing you guys can discuss is Demetrius Robinson was a heck of a student athlete. He's also a student. I mean, you're talking about going to school at Country Day, staying eligible. You're talking about going to Savannah Christian, staying eligible. You're talking about California, the University of California, staying eligible, and then going back to UGA. The kid's got a lot going to him, whether it's athletically, whether it's artistically. Also, Travis, you can tell us about that one.
Yeah, I think, and like we were saying, how easy the sports came. Did I lose you guys? Can you?
No, you're there.
You're good.
All right, good.
There you go.
As easily as the athletics came to Demetrius,
there you go.
The
we know
academics were something that you got me. I'm sorry. I'm losing it in and out.
Okay, I'll go back to the three. I'll keep it easy for all of us. There you go.
There you go.
You're on, Travis.
All right.
You're good.
Demetrius worked really hard in the classroom, I think, at Country Day, at Savannah Christian, and obviously now in college. And so, you know, that's a testament to his hard work. That kind of stuff doesn't come as easily as the athletics. And I think there's a lot of guys that aren't like that, that kind of skate by in the classroom because they're so good on the field. That's not who Robertson is.
Well, so let's talk about your conversation with him. I mean, Carl and I read the story, and I took away from that conversation that he's in a pretty good place in Athens. He feels very comfortable. You know, I personally believe when he came over from California, there was a lot of, you know, a lot of hype, a lot of expectations. I don't think he ever really fit into what the Georgia offense was going to try to do. Do we feel like he's going to fit in a little better now under Todd Monken?
We just lost Travis.
Uh-oh.
Travis, are you there?
Well, Carl, you know, like I was saying, I think that when he came over from Cal, I don't know that there was a plan for him necessarily. So, there he is. Hey, bud.
I'm back.
So we were just saying, Travis, you know, when Robertson came over from California, I don't know that there was a plan for how to take advantage of his talents. And he's been kind of a forgotten weapon. There hasn't been a whole lot to look at. There's not a lot of tape on him. He hadn't done a whole lot at Georgia, which is a little surprising given, you know, the credentials he came with. How does he feel about his time in Athens so far?
Well, look, I'll give you my opinion of what, you know, after talking with Demetrius, what he thinks, but I want to make it clear that I'm not privy to exactly how he's being used and how he feels about that. But
sure.
I think he is well aware that he's now in his last season collegiately. And for a guy that had so much hype, it's like you said, Stephen, when he left Cal to come to Georgia, the speculation was crazy about how Georgia could utilize him and all the different things they could do with him. Could they put him in the backfield? Could they use him on special teams? And then you start hearing these things about how Kirby Smart values receivers who can block and all this stuff. And I wondered to myself at that time, had Kirby Smart ever seen a receiver coming from the Pac-12? Did he have some expectation that Demetrius Robertson was there to block? Because if so, then that was never going to be successful, in my opinion. So I think when Georgia figures out how they want to use Robertson, that's when Robertson will succeed. I don't know that it's necessarily on him to figure out how if that makes sense, how he best fits into Georgia, because when he comes in, they had Javon Wims out wide. You had Terry Godwin in the slot. There were bona fide, SEC stars out wide. So you understood why it might take him a year. Even after he was immediately declared eligible, you understood why it might take him a year to get his feet wet, so to speak. Last year, I don't know what was preventing Demetrius Robertson from being utilized more often than he was, but he wasn't. The fact is that he had, let's see, I got it written down here. It's wild. He had 50 receptions and 770 yards in one season as a freshman in Cal. Since then, with Georgia in 2 years, he's got 30 for 333. Those numbers don't add up, so they should figure out a way that they're going to use him. And I think Robertson's well aware that he's got a little bit left to prove, at least if for nobody else and for himself.
It's to me, and I'll preface this by saying I'm a diehard lifelong Georgia fan. What I expected to see from Robertson when he came over was they'd have sort of isolation packages where they would let him run and take the defense away just by being a threat. I also thought we'd see him go take short passes and make them into long runs. And I'm almost convinced that the coaches just didn't know how to get the kid in space to utilize his talents. And I think, I was pretty disappointed with Georgia's offense in general last year. Boy, that seems like he would have been a perfect change of pace when Lawrence Cager was hurt and we couldn't seem to complete a pass. And it just realized.
Well, guys, the difference is California was a pro-style passing offense.
That's right.
Where Georgia is a run-first offense. You got those huge hogs up front. Georgia wants to run the ball. And Travis, you said this, and from watching Georgia Southern for so many years, if you are not a blocker in a run-oriented offense, you're not going to play much. And that was the tag that I was hearing about Demetrius Robertson, that he wasn't blocking or his blocking wasn't up to that SEC standard, where at California, he was just running all over the place, wide open. They were slinging the ball 50, 60 times a game. That was the difference to me. I was excited when he came back to Georgia. I thought exactly like you said, Steve, exactly like you said, Travis, they're going to get the ball in the slot. They're going to run end reverses. But for some reason, we don't know why they haven't. And that's the biggest question. Is he going to be able to do something this year? But, Georgia's going to come out and run the ball. Steven, you're the biggest Georgia fanatic I know. That's their first goal, is we have to run the ball. And that's why he gets lost in the shuffle, I think.
I don't know. I will say this. I think the one thing I've learned about Kirby Smart over the past few years is what Kirby wants more than anything else is to win. He doesn't seem overly concerned with what style they play. He wants to be physical, obviously, but I think if my hunch is correct, I'm gonna guess that Kirby Smart hated fielding those questions last year about why can't you score? Why can't the offense move the ball? And I have a feeling that, and I hope I'm right, we're going to see a different form of offense. We're not going to see trying not to lose the game. We're going to see some of this elite talent that Kirby Smart has brought in. And I would include Demetrius. I mean, anytime you're a five-star, there's just not a lot. You don't miss on five stars a lot. Those guys, I think, what is it? Travis, you might know this, Carl. There's like 65% of five stars end up going to the NFL, 70%. So, all these guys that watch Demetrius Robertson, they weren't wrong. He's fast. He's got good hands. He's incredibly elusive in space. Can he block? Probably not. He's pretty small. But I mean, we've had.
So then don't ask him to block.
Don't ask him to block.
That's what I would
let
say.
let the other guys block for him.
Let's keep him off the field
block
when you
for
need
him.
a receiver. Yeah, when you need a receiver to block, don't ask Demetrius Robertson to do it. And then if he does do it, and it's not done well, there's precedent for that. So I don't know that that's altogether surprising.
But I have a feeling, and Travis, you and I were talking about this earlier this week. I mean, it just feels like there's a new era of offensive football that we're gonna see in Athens. I think Todd Monken has a reputation and a well-deserved reputation as an offensive genius. I think he's gonna once they get to practice, I think he's gonna see Demetrius Robertson and say, "Holy cow, I got a guy who can go to the house anytime we get him the ball in open space."
Well,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish up on Demetrius. Go right ahead.
I think just one last thought on Robertson. I would be shocked if he wasn't targeted and utilized a great deal this year. And he, in all of his, athletic endeavors, has a flair for the dramatic and a flair for kind of showing up when people show up to see him show up. He has a flair for that. So I think maybe his college career will be bookended by 2 really good seasons. If he can give Georgia anywhere near 7 touchdowns, 50 catches, and 770, I think they'll be A-okay with that.
I love that. I love that, man. I think 7 touchdowns for wide receiver might be all we had last year.
It was pretty tough. And if you just joined us on the stream on PrepSportsReport.com or Prep Sports Report on Facebook Live, the Prep Sports Report on Twitter, and then of course if you went to my Carl DeMasi Sports Report YouTube page. But we're talking to Travis Jadon, sports writer. He's been helping us with the PrepSportsReport.com, brand new. It's Thursday Night Live with the coach, the columnist, and the sports writer. Okay, now you highlighted another great story, and this kid was special too because he could play football, he could jump out of the gym in basketball. I think he did dab in track at Jenkins High School. Tyrone Scott up at Central Michigan, he got a lot of playing time this year too.
Yeah, another guy, Tyrone Scott, who probably, since I started covering high school sports in Savannah in 2015, is my favorite player to watch play. And that's not on the football field. That's on the basketball court. I had never seen
that kid can flat out ball. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never seen a kid jump. I can't describe it. He stayed in the air for so long, so easily, it seemed like that I was amazed to watch him. And I'll never forget, I stood outside and waited in line to get in to a pass gate at New Hampstead to see him in a dunk contest like 4 or 5 years ago.
That would have been fantastic.
And he was something else.
Speaking of these guys, Demetrius, Tyrone, let me ask you a question. And Carl, you know this, and you could speak to this too. Do you feel like Savannah and the Coastal Empire is undervalued a little bit as a producer of top flight athletes? I mean, I got to be honest. Anytime I go watch a basketball game, Johnson, Jenkins, Windsor Forest, even BC, man, I just see athletes all over the basketball court, all over the football field. You feel like Savannah is a little bit, undervalued. I mean, Memorial Day School is sending 3 or 4 kids to college to play college sports every year. Memorial Day School, right? Bethesda's sending kids every year. Are we undervalued as an area, as a producer of elite athletic talent?
I think we're very much liquidated. What I mean is there's too many schools, too many of our good athletes at these schools. They're all spread out. It's tough to follow them. I mean, Travis, you can attest to that. I mean, they're all over the place. Like you said, Memorial Day School. I mean, you're talking about out in New Hampstead. You're talking about Savannah Christian. But I can tell you what, watching the recruiting trail the last couple of years, people know about the athletes in Savannah. And, I mean, look what Savannah State's doing. They're keeping some of those athletes. So I think because we're so spread out, we got so many schools in this area that people think the talent's not here, but it is here. Travis, what do you feel?
Yeah, I think, well, recently at least, we've seen more of these kind of 4 and maybe not 5 stars, but high level 3 and 4 star guys. And I think that in kind of our culture, and it was this way when I was in high school 10 years ago, you kind of forget that if you're a 1 or a 2-star, you're pretty good.
You're
Yeah,
really good.
You're
really
good. And so I think we forget how many of those guys there are that are maybe the 3rd or 4th best guy on their high school team that go to a JUCO and they become the 2nd or best guy on that team. I think of a guy, like Amin Stevens, running back from Jenkins, who is torching Division II football right now. McKinley Habersham, also a guy I think at a Memorial, who was the SEAC Conference Offensive Player of the Year, running back at Albany State. These guys are literally on every block in Savannah. And the conversation about how many high schools there are in Savannah, I've never been convinced one way or the other whether it's a positive or a negative, and I'm willing to be convinced if someone could convince me that it needs to be condensed or even expanded. I don't know that there's a fix for it. We can just look at it and say, hey, these guys are dispersed across the city. That's just a fact. I don't know what else
it's never going to be fixed. And the talent's going to go where the programs are winning. That's look at your basketball programs, Jenkins, Johnson. I mean, you look at your football programs, Savannah Christian, Calvary, Benedictine, now Jenkins. I mean, the kids are just going, and with the way it's set up, you can go to these different schools, and finally, things are changing in the higher echelon where it's making it tough for these kids to do it. But that's always been the case, that.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you this. I've watched Jenkins and Johnson play basketball. That's better than a ton of the college basketball that's on television. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
When you go see a Jenkins Johnson basketball game or a Johnson, Windsor Forest this year basketball game, that's small college basketball right there. All right. I mean, that's just that you're watching. You're watching 4 or 5 kids who can play college basketball. And one thing, and not to plug Prep Sports too much, I don't want to make it too overt. One thing I want for Prep Sports Report to be is we gotta let more people. We gotta make it easier to find out about these kids, whether they're spread out at different schools or not. I just feel like every time I turn around, I see. I mean, going all the way back to Kashmir Wright, going all the way back to guys like that. I feel like there's so much talent here that people in our community don't even really know about, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that. Windsor Forest, and just talking about what you just said, Windsor Forest is going to be a product this year if we play basketball. I mean, that's going to be a really interesting show.
I went over to the new Memorial Stadium, which, because I'm an old person, I still say the new Memorial Stadium. I went over and looked at that, and I saw Windsor warming up. That's about the most impressive getting off the bus team I've seen in a long time in Savannah, Georgia. They were huge.
Talking about the football team?
Oh, they were huge. They were long. They just looked athletic and ready to. I mean, they look like a team that you might, everybody all of a sudden in the locker room is going to look outside and go, guys, coach, we got the flu. We don't want to go.
Windsor Forest is an interesting school as a whole this year. They've kind of, at least in my eyes, and I think a lot of people's eyes, they've always been solid. But they've always been in basketball, and I'm talking about strictly basketball and football. They've kind of always been Johnson, Jenkins, or Jenkins, Johnson, sometimes beat Savannah High. And then it's kind of always, but Windsor Forest is, and then slowly now the last 2 years, there's been no one more consistent and no one better in big games than Windsor Forest in basketball. I think football, they've had high expectations, much like Islands has the last couple of years, and have maybe yet to fulfill those expectations. They could do that this year. I don't want to try to pronounce his last name, but they have an incredible junior running back. I think they're Caballero, maybe.
Caballero, you got it. Michael Caballero.
If you haven't seen this guy run, he is a throwback running back and a guy that I really like watching run. I'm really interested to see Windsor Forest.
He's a heck of a basketball player too.
Well, they got about 10 good basketball players over there right now.
That's the other thing, Carl and Travis, is every time we throw out a name, somebody says, kid can play basketball too, or he's a great track star. Right. I just feel like there's so much underappreciated talent in our area I don't know.
What about
it's exciting
Carter
to think
Holton
about.
at BC is probably one of the best baseball players in the country as
Absolutely,
a junior,
definitely.
and we're robbed of
not,
seeing his junior year, which is
not
unfortunate.
only Carter, but then you got the Garner kid, he's being recruited by everybody as a quarterback. He's only what is he? The rising junior, right?
Come on,
Right,
you two guys are Hornets. You forget about Barry Kleinpeter.
And Kleinpeter, yeah.
Kleinpeter was the best sophomore quarterback in the city last year, and I'll say that to anyone that asks. So until someone bests that, I'm going with
I'll tell you right now, I think him and Thomas Carver can give anybody a run at that position. Thomas Carver, just because he's short in stature, that kid was a great high school football player, great high school quarterback. Barry Kleinpeter, he's going to blow it out the door. I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you. I thought Barry Kleinpeter was unbelievable the way he carried that team on his back.
If
he beat Carver head to head.
Was Manning, Sports Illustrated would be writing about him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, well, we can go from there. Okay, last question here for the sports reporter. Okay, high school sports. What do you think? We're going to wait to June, or are they going to open it up, or we're going to wait to July for let them start going? What do you think is going to happen, Travis?
I have no idea what the GHSA is going to do. I can imagine a coin flip will be involved somehow in their decision-making process. I hope not.
It always is.
Yeah. I think some people will get that reference. I don't know. Carl and Steven, I think you guys will both agree with me. If they're leaning one way or the other, they're always going to lean, rightly so, on the side of safety. And so that tells me that it'll be later rather than sooner. But if I were to, just guess, I would say that athletics are played in the state of Georgia in 2020. But I don't know that I would go further than that and say that football is going to be played or say that they're going to start at this time. I think football will be played. I think basketball will be played. But if you start moving back football, aside from obvious things like state championship dates are going to be moved, which means the high value venues that they've paid top dollar to rent will now no longer be utilized. If you move football back and you're moving basketball back, now there was already a carryover between those two where football players were missing basketball. Then now you're moving into baseball, and it kind of all becomes, it can get away from you quickly. I would say this, I sure hope that they have designated some sort of team that's not just in the GHSA building in Thomaston to be taking care of these logistical things and trying to figure it out. I've heard nothing about that, but I would hope that someone has taken the time to start logistically planning. If we start on this date, here's what that means. I haven't seen anything like that. I've just seen guesses about June.
I will go so far as to say this. If we hear that the kids are going to go back to school, like literally go back to school, they're going to, if they physically go to school, they're going to play sports. If we start
100%,
if we start hearing they're not going to go back to school, we're going to keep doing virtual learning, you can forget about sports until that's over. Because you can't. I don't think there's no way. There would be no way to justify it. If you don't feel safe sending them back to school to conduct classes and do those types of things, you can't. There's no way you can do sports. And then you gotta give them time to get in shape, right? So if you say, okay, we're not going to play football until October, well, that means now we got to have training camp late August, September. Did they feel safe doing that? But I think we're going to hear an announcement sometime in the next 30 days about whether or not they're going to try to send the kids back to school. And if they do, I think they're going to. I would be willing to bet they try to go normal sports schedule.
Well, there's three factors.
What's going to happen when we get all this figured out, and then the hurricanes start coming and pushing all the football games?
Oh God! Don't even talk about hurricanes, man. I can't.
Look, can you imagine?
We got.
Let's keep that out of the picture.
No hurricane talk. No hurricane talk.
We'll
beat the plague. We'll beat the plague, and then the winds and rain will knock us out again.
That's right.
Talking to Dr. Robert Hines, he was hoping the possibility of June 1st to let the kids come back for summer practices. I heard now it's going to the middle of June, and they're hoping to get everything back by July 25th, which means everything will be on course. But the key is the virus has to flatten out, I hope. And like Steven said, the kids got to be allowed to go back to school, or we're not going to have anything going on.
That's right. That's right.
So, anything else you got for the sports reporter there, columnist?
I'm good, man. I'm about to take my 14-year-old daughter up for a little basketball workout at the Allahoe Park. So take advantage of this nice weather.
Nice. Travis, I got to say, your articles are great. I've always enjoyed what you've written, and keep it coming. We need your help on the prepsportsreport.com. Anytime you got something you want to jump on and tell us, you want to get in touch with Steve, I mean, you do a great job. I mean, you have a talent. Don't lose that talent, buddy.
Yeah, we're going to, Travis, we're going to ride you like a mule, brother.
Carl, I appreciate you saying that. And yeah, I enjoy it, guys. I mean, honestly, I really do enjoy it. And I'm excited, like everyone else, to get going with sports. I guess I'll close with this. If you're a sports fan, a high school sports fan in Savannah, and I've talked to you in the last 3 or 4 years, you and I have probably had a conversation about a void of coverage in Savannah when it comes to high school sports. From what I've seen and from what you guys have told me, Prep Sports Report is probably going to fill that void that a lot of people have missed over the years, and a lot of athletes have gone unnoticed because of it.
That's the goal. We're gonna, it's like the coach would say to his team: we're gonna work hard. We're gonna try to get better every day, and we're gonna try to do.
Gonna watch the film.
Yeah, we're gonna watch film. We're gonna try to get better every day, right, Coach? We're gonna take care of the fundamentals, and we're gonna do the best we can to get more stories out into public consumption about these athletes that we're talking about.
I mean, it's always been a dream of mine to push this further, and we talked about this last night, Travis. I've been doing this a lot on my own. That's why I reached out to Steven and his company to revamp the website, and it's got to be a team. It can't be just the coach. It just can't be the columnist. We need people like you, a sports reporter. We need people to jump in here. Let's get this. Let's blow it up, because I say it all the time, and you guys live it. You can only do so much in the newspaper. You can only do so much on the TV. There's got to be another avenue to get more stuff out about these kids, and I hope the PrepSportsReport.com can be it for everybody. And it's not to blow up Carl DeMassi's bubble here. It's to blow your kids up. It's to get the word out about your kids, not getting under the radar. I can't believe how many kids we've got stories from that you didn't know they did have this stuff.
And kids who are really good that we didn't know anything about.
So,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it, guys. Travis, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We're gonna do it every Thursday, and try to keep it going.
Yeah, guys, anytime. Thanks for having me.
Cool.
All right, Travis, appreciate it.
Bye. Thanks.
Well, Steven, he's a young go-getter. He's a young columnist like you were back in the day. We got to keep him rolling with these stories, because this is what it's all about. Kids that go away, let's hear where they're going, like Tyrone Scott and Demetrius Robinson. Let's hear where the youth sports are. Give us a youth athlete. It's got to go with that. But the kid has a talent. He's had a talent since day one, since he started writing articles. And I love what he does. You there, Steven? Steven, did I lose you? Steven, are you there? All right, I guess I lost Steven Weeks. He got a frozen smile on his face right there. Let me see if I can bring him back. Now, I guess I lost. There it is. I thought I had him. Steven, are you there? Now, I guess I lost Steven Weeks, and I'm going to tell you right now, Steven Weeks is a heck of a guy. He put together that PrepSportsReport.com website with his team at Saber Solutions. They do a great job, and I really do appreciate it. As Steven said, we're going to try and be here every Thursday night with the Prep Sports Report, Thursday Night Live. And I got to tell you right now, people, give me a call, 507-9158. Give me an email, carldemassi@gmail.com, Carl K. Demassi at PrepSportsReport.com. I want to hear the kids' stories. I want to get it out there. That's what it's all about. You know what? People have been telling me, we got the COVID-19 pandemic. We got the coronavirus pandemic. There's no sports to talk about. There's a lot of sports to talk about. And there's a lot of kids out there that this is the best time to get people to know what they're doing. My phone is always on, 912-507-9158. Anytime you got something, give me a text, give me a call, and give me an email. And you can find it all at the PrepSportsReport.com or the Carl DeMassi Sports Report. Every Saturday, I'll be back Saturday morning with the coach at Coach's Quarter in the Sound Garden, the Carl DeMassi Sports Report from 9 to 11. We got Dr. Stuart Fife coming on, talking about Stephen. You there?
I'm kind of here. My laptop died. I didn't pay attention to the little red light.
So I've been ad-libbing it and telling people we need their stories. We need them to help us out here. It's got to be a team effort.
Yeah, it does. It does. It has to be a team effort. I apologize for that little technical glitch. I tell you what, the stories that Travis has done, Demetrius Robinson, Tyrone Scott, those things, man, there's so many of those kids here, and in order for us to get the word out, we want to hear from people. If you know about a kid who's had a great high school career or is having a great high school career, somebody who's going to be great next year as a junior, a senior, whatever, we want to hear from you, and we'll interview them, write a story, put them on. It's like like Billy the Kid said, we'll make them famous.
Catherine Connor out of the Savannah Arts Academy. He did a great story about that young lady who's going to go run at Georgia Southern in cross country and track and field.
Isn't that great? I mean, I didn't know anything about that. And I guarantee you there's a ton of kids out there going to play golf or going to do lacrosse. A lot of kids around here playing lacrosse these days, soccer. Well, there's a lot of good soccer players coming through Savannah United and Tormenta FC. There's just a tremendous amount of talent in this area. A lot of development going on. A lot of great youth coaches with working with younger kids and high school kids. Yeah, anybody out there who's got a story they want to tell, we want to hear about it. We'd like to celebrate everybody that we can. And I think we're off to a good start, Carl. I think we're doing a really good job identifying both the superstars and the hardworking kids who are just really good. Hey, there's a lot to say about a kid who's a really good high school athlete.
Yes.
It's like we were saying, if you're a two-star recruit, you're one of the best athletes in the country. Right?
It definitely is. So, well, you got to get over there, play a little basketball with your daughter. I got to get outside, do a little exercise with the wife. But every Thursday night, as the columnist coined it, it's the Prep Sports Court, Thursday Night Live. And believe me, we can find sports to talk about locally and nationally. So,
you and I can talk about sports that you can talk about nothing for 30 minutes, but we'll talk about sports, all right?
All right, I'll talk to you during the week. Talk to you over the weekend.
Thanks, Coach. See you later.
You got it. And on that note, we are done. The Prep Sports Report is out of here. I'll have my little closing segment here. And once again, prepsportsport.com. Shoot us an email. Shoot us a text. K. Demasi at prepsportsport.com. Carl Demasi at gmail.com. Give us a call. Give me some information. Love to have you. Until we talk to each other next week, don't forget Saturday. Saturday, Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering. The coach, the Italian coach, the Southern Yankee. I'll be out front of Rocky starting at 12 noon selling Zapleys. What is Zapleys or Zapolis, whatever you want to say? It's an Italian donut with a lot of powder, and you'll love it. I'm selling them 5 for $5. All proceeds will go to the Second Harvest Food Bank because they're trying to raise $150,000 to meet the anonymous $150,000 that was donated to them, but it's got to be matched by the end of May. I think they're well over $100,000, but whatever I can get making Zapolis, stop by Rocky's New York Deli Italian Catering this Saturday, 12 o'clock, after I leave the Sound Garden and Coach's Corner with the Carl Demasi Sports Report. I'm out of here. Have a good weekend. Hopefully I'll see you Saturday. Listen to us live on Facebook, the Coach and AD, Carl Demasi Sports Report, 9 to 11 from the Coach's Corner. I'm out of here. Talk to you guys later.